God knows why.
Looks fun.
Am I tough enough?
Well, Harrison and Tony, 3 years ago this time, we would never have thought that we were going to be back here under these circumstances. And what I mean is the fact that Star Wars, the highest grossing film of all time. Is it like being in Never Never Land, Harrison?
Not exactly. I mean, you understand that we perform this function all the time. To have it take off like that, that's beyond anybody's expectations, and it's a joy to behold, but it's not something you can take personally.
It has made you more marketable, though, as an actor, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Harrison?
it's given me, the success of the film's given me the opportunity to do a lot of work which I would not otherwise have had, and I'm very pleased about that. But the work's the thing, not the success of the film so much.
At the same time, though, has it been a two-edged sword in that maybe you got some acting opportunities you wouldn't have had,
Yeah.
and maybe were you aced out of others simply because they said Han Solo?
I'm sure that, but those are decisions that I don't, fortunately I'm not privy to those discussions. Any part that has a high visibility like that, sometimes a director will prefer to introduce someone on his own. I don't blame him at all. That's a director's choice. But I have done a number of films in between in which they've taken the chance to allow me to do different kinds of characters.
Indeed, you have. The Apocalypse and Hanover Street, and so you've had some nice changes.
Yeah, well, I wanted to do as many different things for as many different kinds of audiences as I could between the first and the second, having every actor's natural fear of being identified totally with this one character.
Harrison, did the success of Star Wars give you a different outlook on your own worth as an actor?
Well, I would have to say yes, to a certain extent. I was pleased with the work that I did in the film. I would have been more pleased to have done better. I mean, it's not, I don't have a way of being satisfied with what I do, but I work at it, and that's all that really matters to me.
Tony, you all were under very strict security during the filming of The Empire Strikes Back. Now, I don't know what that means. Did you have to sign a loyalty oath, or what did you have to do?
No, it meant that some lines in the script were hard to read because each page had been stamped sideways with a list of serial numbers, and on the front there was a rubric which said, do not show this to anyone, do not give it away, do not use it for wrapping the garbage, do not do this and that. And this was a serial number that was my own script. I mean, it was ludicrous to a certain extent, actually. They got a bit carried away with it. Most people working on the film have enough sense to know that the whole object is one kind of a surprise. There's preparation behind the curtains. They open and say, ta-da! If you let bits of it slip away, the impact is not so great. And the audience are disappointed. We could sit here and give you the whole story now, but that's not what it's about.
But isn't there also something about the fact that somebody else would rip off the idea and you'd see it on television?
That as well. There are people kind of lurking about this area particularly who would quickly turn it into a TV series, on the cheap, therefore very quickly. And yes, quite right, take the element away from us.
Did they change C-3PO's gold suit this time?
They had to give him a completely new one because the bloke who was playing it wouldn't do it otherwise. So he was really very awkward about it and said the first time had been so tough that he wasn't going to go anywhere near that other costume. So they made another one which was slightly bigger and looks the same, but it works a bit better.
What was tough about the first one?
It was too small, basically. And when I mean, it's bad enough having a pair of trousers that are too tight, but if they happen to be made of metal...
You have no idea the torture this man endured to play that part. It was seldom seen Tony, because it took so long to put him into the costume, and it took so long to take him out of it, that we seldom saw him.
It was like making my own private film in there, because any scene which we're in together, I mean, there's this wall between us, and I can see through little peepholes. He can't see me at all. And what is curious is, even Harrison will spend the whole day in a scene looking at my left ear because he can't see my eyes, and he thinks they're here somewhere and all that kind of. But I'm pretty tough to act with. I mean,
I wouldn't say so at all. I think.
But it's not easy acting with a faceless thing.
No, but with what characterization you've given it is entirely your own, and that's it's remarkable to
But
see.
how does it feel kind of being faced with a metal plate?
Wait a second, this is not my interview. It doesn't feel bad at all.
No, I mean,
I think that Lucas was very clever to give the robots a real human personality and real...
Which is why I took the job. I mean, very much against my will, you know, to begin with. I wouldn't even consider it, and then I did. And then I read the character that George had created. Stunning. Very human. And I play it human. I mean, if 3PO is smiling, you take the mask away, I'm smiling too. Silly.
Did you have as many technical breakdowns this time?
No.
Because I know in the first one, R2-D2 was always breaking down.
He started sewing the set in half at one point.
He started what?
That's an entirely different story.
I didn't hear what you
Entirely
said.
different story, and
I
I'm
wanna
not very
hear it.
proud of that moment.
Well, I liked it.
I got very anxious to go home, and
It was very near the end of the film.
I'm afraid I'm so embarrassed by it. You
Oh.
must forgive me if I don't want to tell it. You tell it.
No, then I won't embarrass
Best
you.
forgotten.
But write in and I'll send you a copy of it.
Suffice it to say that I thought I was going to be required for 10 weeks, and it took 20 weeks to make it. And I was very tired from the film I'd done before and anxious to go home. Not at all unenthusiastic about the project. There's just a limit to anybody's endurance.
But there have to be ways of letting you frustrated. I used to go and find, I mean, timid little 3PO. Once I'm out of the costume, I'd go back at the set and find a big piece of timber and go and smash it on a rock until it was too small. Did you know that?
No.
Until I couldn't break it anymore. And then I'd be better after that. I mean, we all have to find ways of letting it out, you know. And you long to scream in the middle of it and say, ah. And we should. And also, on the next one, we're going to have inflated dolls of the producer that we can punch.
Are you planning to stay for all 9 films, assuming they do 9 films?
Oh, I don't think it's up to me. I mean, and the actor is just above the writer. He's slightly below the studio cat, but there's a whole hierarchy.
The story that we're engaged in now really concludes itself in the next film, and then George moves on with the same milieu but different characters into the 3 that follow this, or they may be 3 that precede it. I don't know exactly what the plan is, but our characters more or less conclude their story in the next one.
And yours as well, C-3PO?
Well, there are vague thoughts that the 2 robots go on through the whole thing, which I don't know whether they do or not. Whether I could play 3PO at the age of 60, I mean, when I was 60, is a question housewives all over America are asking themselves.
Tony, one last question, very quickly. Do you mind blowing your cover and coming out and letting us see your bare face?
Mind? No. Do the audience mind? So sorry.
This is delightful, and it's good to see you both. Harrison, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tony, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Actions first. And now questions. Tony, there's been so much talk about the security around The Empire Strikes Back, and I'm curious to know, what did you have to do, sign a loyalty oath or something? In The Empire Strikes Back now, do you have an entirely different and revised suit of gold? What was so difficult about the first one? Harrison, do you feel that you are now, let me start again. Harrison, do you feel that with the success of Star Wars, you became a more marketable star? But was it like a two-edged sword where it helped you in some ways and hurt you in other ways? Did the success of Star Wars give you a totally different perspective of your worth as an actor? All right, does anybody think of another question?
That's amazing.
Oh, I do it every day. It's, you know,
We
it's
don't
my
need it.
kind
You realize they don't need us for using it.
of- Okay, I guess that'll.
Wanna say
I think
goodbye?
those are the